You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
I have been watching a lot of movies from 2013.
I have not had time to do anything with this freaking magic crap this week.
Magic.
You
Ain't
know,
no
we have
magic.
this guy, illusionist.
I don't want real. I want magic. Magic.
I want magic.
Guess what I watched?
What?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, 3?
Yep.
And
I liked it. It definitely has a different flavor than the rest of them because everyone wants them to be all lighthearted, fun, and as they normally are. And there are places with that, but not nearly as many. And I like the story they told. It does go some dark places, but I mean, you and I like tragic musicals, so I have no problem with them going toward the tragic or dark. And then a lot of people were expecting a happy ending, and it's not really. I mean, because technically it's the last Guardians movie.
yeah,
But the Guardians kind of break up. And I mean, there's remnants of what'll go on to probably be another Guardians gang. And I guess I'm spoiling a little bit of it, but you know how they always do like a mid-credits teaser and then an end teaser? After the last one, I think, it says the adventures of Star-Lord will continue. So is he going to do a movie without them? I mean, I have no idea.
maybe he's just going to be an Avenger.
Oh yeah, that could be potential. But yeah, I mean, I did not dislike it at all. As a matter of fact, I might have even liked it more, and you might too, since you didn't jibe with the original thematics.
One of my geek buddy guys loves it. He says it's really where Gunn was going. He likes the fact that it has more character, and he really likes Rocket in it. He thinks Rocket's amazing.
Well, the music's still there, man. They use some great music, and I love where they put it. It's like, oh, we're entering the atmosphere of this planet. What cool song can we play? That is still there. So I don't mind that at all, which is a little jarring for science fiction. We're used to hearing either dramatic orchestrated music or classical music, not really rock and roll. So it's fun that way still. But yeah, I think there were a bunch of romance readers watching it, wanting a happy ending for everyone. And it's not a sad ending for everyone, but it's a realistic ending for everything.
Well,
and that's not necessarily what everyone wants, wrapped up in a tight little bow and everyone lives happily ever after. That's not the case. So I think you might like it for those reasons.
All right. I'll try it.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy all of them, though. I mean, Drax makes me laugh, and I like Mantis because she's a great counter to him because she's almost equally as dumb. I mean, she's not really dumb, but she says funny, dumb things. Yeah. She's definitely smarter than Drax. I think everybody is smarter than Drax.
True. It's just that he says the first thing comes in his mind, and she does too.
Right. Right. And then if she says something to insult him, she'll just touch him and go, forget that.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know what Gunn's going on to do DC movies, isn't he? He's not going to do Marvel anymore, I think. I think that's his next thing, is he's doing.
Yay.
Well, I mean, it can't hurt. The only way is up. They don't get much worse than what we've seen.
That's the truth. Golly. I keep seeing it pop up on my socials in the Reels section. Will be like sections from Aquaman or sections from something else. And I'll watch like 2 minutes of it and go, gee, this is just horrible.
Honestly, I haven't seen Aquaman or Wonder Woman or Justice League. I think the last thing I saw was the Batman Superman one. Or maybe that first Suicide Squad, which I could just barely make it through. With Jared Leto.
Yeah.
It was the
I
very
watched the
first
first
one. I think
one.
they've done one since.
The one with Margot Robbie.
Right. And Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Awful.
That was awful. I mean, it's just DC just does. I mean, they keep wanting to go with his aesthetic, and his aesthetic I don't like. It worked for 300 because it was a weird approach, and I thought that worked in that bronze. Literally, I think of that movie like the Bronze Age, because everything is in that gold filter look to it, and the hyper lighting and the slow-mo and all of that. But I don't think it works for superheroes. Not when you're going against Marvel, which is trying to be so super realistic about
And that's
everything.
exactly what they need to do, is just be realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have humor. I mean, Batman can be so dark that you find it funny, or the others are always cracking jokes about it. Or Superman
like
can
Wonder
be
Woman,
so pure that everyone's cracking jokes about it.
Wonder Woman, I liked. I thought that was well directed. It was good. It worked for me. But I saw like 20 minutes of the second one and went, oh my, what have they done to this franchise?
Yeah. That's the one where a crazy
80s.
Woman plays the villain.
Yeah. She plays the Catwoman or whatever.
It's Tigress or something.
Tigress.
And I just see her on Saturday Night Live because she is very funny, but I don't see her as a villain. No, it's like when they cast Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I did not see that either. Speaking of DC, one from the vault.
Well, and they can't decide on Batman. It's so-and-so, and then it's Ben Affleck, and then it's Robert Pattinson, and it's...
I think he has another one coming out, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's already done another one.
Yeah.
All right. So
superhero talk.
Doing what?
I said superhero talk.
Yeah. Welcome to Superhero Talk. Yeah.
Well,
or what's wrong with Marvel today? Now. Oh,
so,
have you seen the new Southpark with the Panderverse? No. Oh, dude, you need to watch it.
With the what?
It's called Into the Panderverse, and it is about Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and Star Wars and it is Cartman.
I love South Park. I haven't watched one.
Cartman shows up at school one day, and he's a black woman, and all the kids are going, "That's not really Cartman." And Mr. Garrison and everybody else is like, "If Cartman wants to be a black woman, he can be a black woman."
Well, wasn't Mr. Garrison trans?
That's not friggin' Cartman, man. It's not Cartman. And
at some time, Mr. Garrison was a woman. Or dressed like one? I can't remember.
He's a transvestite.
Is he a transvestite or transsexual? I thought he was a transgender person, but maybe I'm wrong.
He was a transvestite. His partner at one point was a transgender.
Okay, I have not watched several seasons. I need to go back. Okay,
but anyway, it turns out that Kathleen Kennedy is manipulating our reality to make the world more diverse,
and she's like a supervillain. Yeah, I could see that. That's hilarious.
It is scathing. It is so good.
That's what's always made them.
It skewers woke culture. It skewers everything. I mean, it's just very interesting the way they do what they always do. They always take both sides and show both sides and whatever glaring hypocrisies they have.
Right.
So it's done very well. I would highly recommend it. You and Dennis would probably both like it.
Well, Dennis won't understand it probably, but he might.
It's hilarious.
I mean, he's not that big into film culture, so he may pick up stuff.
Yeah, but this is more like how Disney has mutated over the past few years and changed and taken over IP and all of that. And
what do you watch it on?
Huh?
What do you watch it on? You know what? I think we get Comedy Central through Hulu. I could probably watch it there.
I think it's Hulu. I watch it on Hulu. Yeah. You haven't finished Stranger Things yet? Strange New Worlds.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. Every time I've got something else better to watch, so I just don't.
Oh, you have got to get to the freaking next to last episode. Oh, Jesus. Right.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd rather watch Moonlighting.
Ideally, yeah. I'd rather watch Once More with Feeling and Buffy. That's a good musical.
The only thing we watch on Paramount Plus is RuPaul's All Stars, and that's in the summer. So I'm like, we could have got rid of that months ago. But Disney, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I do like watching those series to see, because occasionally there's a good one. And I like watching the Marvel stuff.
I like watching the Marvel documentaries and the Disney documentaries. My geek buddies the other day were talking about you should have Disney Plus just for the behind the scenes, the assembleds and the Imagineering, and what's the other one that they've got? Behind the Ride, which is all about ride development of a particular ride. Space Mountain, I think, was the first one they did. Those are great. Those are really good documentaries. So, yeah, it's good just for that.
Yeah, and plus you've got any of their classic films just about. I mean, they rotate them, but so you can always find something if you're like, oh, I need to see Sleeping Beauty or what have you. Oh, guess what I started watching? Gen V.
Oh, the latest the Boys Academy?
It's a spin-off.
Boys the Next Generation?
Yeah. It's the generation of people that use that drug to become superheroes that weren't natural superheroes, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And it's great. The cast is great. The pilot is really good. I wasn't expecting what happened in it. And apparently it's going to coincide with season 4 of The Boys. So I'm assuming that's going to come back pretty soon too.
Okay.
And it's got some character overlap, like the Clancy Brown character and that woman that's from Fear the Walking Dead. I don't know her name. She's been in it. And there's appearances of some of the Boys superheroes, like in the background on television or whatever. Yeah, I like the way they're doing it. You can tell they're trying to have the same feel as The Boys. Like, it's obviously the same story, and it's superheroes, and some are not good or some are out of control. But it's also like, let's do something really outrageous sexually, or let's do some extreme gore. I mean, all that stuff's there too. So they're trying to maintain their image, for lack of better words, their modus operandi. I think it's pretty good, though. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I mean, I'm practically binging it. I'm watching like 2 episodes a night. So, and you will lead in, and you will do the rest of the show by yourself.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Because I don't know anything about this movie. I don't even know what's going on.
That's going on the reel.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't.
All right. So I'll count us in, and we'll go from there.
Okay. I am recording.
3, 2,
1.
No, finish Loki.
How was that?
Really, really good.
Oh. Awesome. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Have you watched any of season 2?
Not yet. I started Secret Invasion last night.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
It was pretty good too. The first episode has a surprise death in it. I'm telling you, it seems Marvel's trying to, I think, shake things up. That last Thor movie had a surprise death in it too. And I don't think it's like what you're saying. Oh, well, they can just come back in another universe.
Oh, they will.
Well, actually, the Thor death is a bit different. The death in this, I think, is pretty permanent in Secret Invasion.
Okay. But then again, they could always come back as a Skrull, because can't Skrulls imitate people?
No, not this. They kind of, I mean, this one's about Skrulls.
Well, yeah. But, yeah.
Oh, you mean she could come back because a Skrull is imitating? Okay, I see what you're saying. Maybe.
A she, so they killed a she.
Oh, sorry.
If it's Nick, so they must kill. Do they kill Hill? They don't kill Hill, do they? That'd be good. That'd be cool.
They did.
I wouldn't do it in the first episode, but maybe, okay, never mind. Maybe they'll do something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually quite well done. I was like shocked.
She's one of my favorites. Colby Smulders is great.
Colby Smulders. And there is a scene.
The girl with a porn name.
There is a scene with, wow, I guess I just spoiled all that. If anybody's watching this, it's bonus material anyway. There's a scene with her mother and Nick Fury. And it is, I mean, it's like that scene with that woman in Jaws. The kid that the Kittler kid or whatever his name is.
Kittner.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that little Kittner boy spill out all over the
Right. So you really like Loki, because what I was going to do was watch them in order. I was going to watch Secret Invasion, then Ashoka, then Loki, because
Ashoka has nothing to do with Marvel. Ashoka is Star Wars.
I know, but the order they came out.
Okay.
Ashoka,
they won't
Ashoka
affect
and Loki
each,
get the highest ratings. Secret Invasion
they won't
is not
affect each other. As far as I know, I have not seen Secret Invasion, and I was not lost at all in Loki as far as any references. It's easy to get lost in Loki because it's all about time travel. The whole freaking the season is time travel.
Is it as weird as that show with, I can't think of the damn name of it, Dan Stevens? That show really lost me the second season.
Legion,
yeah.
Well, no, Legion is more. I mean, Loki has its Legion-esque elements. I mean, remember even last season when he shows up and there's, 8 different Lokis? It got weird. I think Loki season 2, in my opinion, restores Marvel. It's been flagging lately, and I've even read reviews where people who are really anti-Marvel now. They didn't like Eternals. They didn't like Secret Invasion. They didn't like She-Hulk or whatever. And they think Loki is a return to Marvel. Everybody's great in it. The cast is great in it. It's incredible. It's got some surprise cast I think you'll like. It's really well structured. You may have to rewatch a couple of sequences just because something will happen and you'll suddenly realize, oh, this is part of the time variant thing. At the end of Loki, basically the TVA loses and she kills Kang. So the main timeline is threatened. So all these branches are happening everywhere. All of these alternate timelines and variants and everything is going crazy. So that's how the season starts. It starts like right at that same moment. So it's really good.
That's how it ended, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So season 2 starts right there with what do we do now with branches everywhere going crazy and the main timeline being in jeopardy, and there's a threat of Kangs coming from everywhere.
I think I may have got myself a little darker. Okay, well, that's cool. And I like Kang. And I mean, even though that guy's in trouble for personal stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what they do. And everybody I've talked to says recast him. Says if it gets bad, recast him. Who cares? We'll still follow the story. Doesn't matter.
Oh, and yeah. I mean, Rhodey is in Secret Invasion, excuse me. Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and somebody else was in it. Mendelsohn is in it. He's one of the best things about it.
Well,
he plays
because
Talos.
He's the Skrull, right? Or Skrull.
Right.
Yeah.
He and I would say him and Sam are the leads right now. But Rhodey is a strong supporting character. Hill was. And then who else? Well, I mean, there's a lot of new people like the bad Skrulls. But yeah, I'm kind of into it. Well, I mean, I only watched 2 episodes and there's only 6. So I have a feeling it's probably going to cliffhang or something.
Same thing with Loki. There's only 6, but there's a definite ending.
Oh, good.
To Loki. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because didn't Aaron Benson and Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead do something on that?
I don't know. I think the season.
Yeah, they did at least an episode.
I think the season was written by one guy. I think he wrote all the episodes. from what I understand. But I haven't done a lot of research on it.
And you've
But
not
yeah, it was
watched a
really good.
Benson and Moorhead yet, have you?
Like,
We have had this conversation. Benson and
probably.
Moorhead did that movie, The Endless. And they did
Yeah.
that movie Spring, the one I said that was like Lovecraftian body horror set in
Yeah.
Italy that was a love story. That's them
Yeah.
too. They're low budget. They're a directing pair. They're both actors too. They're in The Endless, but they primarily direct. And there's at least 3 more movies of theirs I want to see because they are very interesting. They can make a lot believable on a very low budget.
Well, you need to remember them for today, since today's brothers co-directing and co-writing.
Oh, yeah. But these are not brothers, but yes, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
but
right.
you want to mention the duo team.
I know that they either directed an episode or were part of the team or whatever on Loki. Because when you told me that, I was like shocked. It was during the Coming to Get You. You mentioned Loki and you said Benson and Moorhead, and I went, what? You totally took me out of the moment because I was like, I know who those are. And
I know
who they are, and they're all of a sudden doing bigger budget things like Marvel instead of just their little low budget sci-fi things.
Okay, well that's good too.
And their stuff is crossover sci-fi horror. The Endless is that one I was telling you about where you all of a sudden realize people are stuck in time loops, but they're not, and they're kind of moving around in other people's time loops. It's wild.
Okay.
Yeah. and you could watch all of them on Shudder, and now they're all gone except for one they've got called Synchronic, which is on Netflix. And I think Spring is still on Shudder. But all the other ones now you have to watch on like Tubi with commercials. Have you been discovering that, Annie, this year watching stuff? That almost everything we need now is on Tubi with commercials.
Yes.
I've been watching a ton of shit on Tubi.
Yeah, they've taken over the new Hulu since Hulu's been bought by Disney. You remember Hulu used to show a lot of really good stuff that nobody else showed, and it was all really cool.
Hulu's been owned by Disney for a long time.
Yeah, but now they're actually Eisner's new edict is to incorporate Hulu into Disney Plus. There won't be a Hulu anymore next year. Hulu's going to become Disney Plus, and it's going to become a more mature Disney is what he's calling it.
Well, they're already showing stuff that's more mature.
Yeah. So they're getting everybody ready for it. But that's the big scuttlebutt I'm reading is by the end of 24, there won't be a Hulu anymore. The same way there's no longer an HBO or a Cinemax.
Well, there's no Showtime really either. It's part of Paramount.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have found my new lining.
So all that acquisition that's happening and reorganization and people trying to get money out of streaming, which they're not, sort of thing. So
we discovered that they dropped a new Behind the Attraction last night on Disney.
What attraction?
It's 6 new ones. One's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Dwayne Johnson
those.
Produces those.
Those are so good. Those are very well done.
We went back. Dennis picked and chose the ones he wanted to watch. So I was like, we haven't seen Jungle Boat. We haven't seen Small World. So we watched those last night. And those are from the first season.
Mm-hmm.
But the Small World one blew my mind. I had no idea that a lot of that was because of Joan Crawford. Did you?
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it was a lot to do with her and Pepsi.
Interesting.
Because a lot of people were involved in it, and he evolved over time because there were so many hands in the basket. But she's the one that finally pushed it through. Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. Well, I've yammered on enough, I guess, about Marvel.
No, that'd be the one I want to watch again. The one that had there, I think it was on all the parks, but there was a big section on Tokyo Disney Sea, and it was so cool to watch it again and see all of the stuff that I was actually there for, and was going. I remember that construction site.
Right, and they also showed all the differences in Jungle Boats at different parks.
At different parks, yeah, the way they change them.
Because there's one in one of the Asia parks that's got like fire versus water or something in it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like totally
I would
crazy.
say that's probably Tokyo
Okay.
because they're very into elementals. Because that's what my show was, Mystic Rhythms. That's what the show was. It was all about earth goddess, water goddess, fire goddess, air goddess, all fighting over control of the humans and the animals of earth.
I was going to say
Kind
that
of
sounds
thing.
like something you'd see at Animal Kingdom. They need to just bring that on.
They should. That show would work really well at Animal
Well,
Kingdom,
and they need
actually.
a show because they introduced a nighttime show a few years ago, and Dennis and I went to it, and that thing shut down almost immediately, and it's gone because
They're
they don't
doing
keep that
something
park open late.
new, though. They're doing something new at Animal Kingdom now, though.
They light
Because I
up the
saw,
tree now
yeah, they do light up the tree, but there's
and do
something
like a
else.
fit, like they make it come to life, like the castle. But
Yeah, they do
I mean, there for a while, it closed at dark. You had to be out of there.
the animals need to sleep, Tim. It's a zoo,
They got their little cubicles underground or whatever. They'll be fine.
Go to your cage. Go to
Well,
your
that's
cage
what
now.
they'd rather be in there. I think that's where they get fed. It's kind of like they make them go out during the daytime so people can see them. But the lions are always asleep up on Pride Rock.
3, 2.
One, and of course, I have my hematologist that's wanting to do an MRI of my liver
Of your liver? Why your liver?
because my uncle had hemochromatosis and I carry one of the genes. So I have high ferritin levels, which mean I store iron. And she just wants to verify that nothing like damage has taken place. She said that she really doubts there'll be any problems.
Okay.
And I've been doing phlebotomies to rid myself of excess iron. So I go to the blood bank and let them, well, no, not even a blood bank. It's the hematologist. They just basically drain a pint of blood out onto the floor. I took a picture of the spike in my arm and the bag she was holding up full of my blood and sent it to Dennis. And he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" He's like, "I don't need to see that." I was like, "I want you to see how big the damn nail is they stick in your arm." So I'm
Well, it's not going to let
done
me
with the
load that, so I'm not
socializing.
going to do it. No, I'm done with the socializing.
Yeah.
There will be no more.
We watched the behind the attractions on Pirates of the Caribbean and Big Thunder Mountain. They're kind of connected.
They are?
Yeah, because Pirates was huge in California, but they thought, well, Florida's near the Caribbean, so they don't need that. We'll just give them an Old West attraction. And they were going to do this like elaborate land in frontier land where you ride through the Wild West or whatever. And it would be like Pirates of the Caribbean with cowboys.
With cowboys.
But when they opened Walt Disney World in Florida, people freaked out because there was no Pirates of the Caribbean. Everybody wanted it. They were like,
well, yeah.
Yeah, because they had heard how great it was. So all of a sudden they had to do Pirates of the Caribbean. What's his face? I can't think of the Imagineer that was designing Thunder Mountain. Basically said, never mind. I mean, they said, never mind too. And they had this attraction I didn't know anything about out in California called Ride Through the Wilderness. And it was just basically like this slow train through like the desert, and there were like animatronic animals and stuff. I had never seen it. And it was like a real slog, and the line was always long. And they had like live donkeys that kids could ride and stuff. It was really crazy. And so they told him, they said, well, let's just do Thunder Mountain here. And he was like, great, because I'm ready to do this. And he got back on it, and they did it, and it opened in 1979. And they decided to go ahead and do it at Walt Disney World too. And that one opened in 1980. And now, like, every park, except for a couple of the Asian parks, have it. And the last version of it, in whatever, Shanghai or wherever, looks amazing because they keep updating it every time they do one. But apparently it's in a lot of the parks. And that Imagineer basically worked on that, I think, his whole life. Just Big Thunder Mountain.
Interesting.
So,
I don't think I've ever ridden Big Thunder Mountain.
Oh, it's a great roller coaster. It's just
I don't
fast.
think I ever have.
It's not very high.
Well, yeah.
And you're riding through like the desert.
Have you seen the new one they have at Sandusky that takes you up the first lift, I guess, and it goes over and it's like flat instead of like going up and down. It's like goes over and it's all flat and you come across and then the entire vehicle goes like this and holds at perfect 90 degree. And
they
you are
had
looking
one of those on the
straight down,
stratosphere.
and then it goes,
Oh my God.
That would, I mean, those few seconds there in that full vertical looking straight down would be enough to make most people just lose their crap.
There's something similar on the stratosphere that I would not ride. It basically just hangs, goes out, and then tilts.
Oh, you're talking about in Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's actually pretty fun.
I can't think of what it's called. I rode that slingshot that shoots you up in the air on the stratosphere.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'd do that. I don't want to be shot off of that because
it goes straight up.
I guess landing. Oh, that's just the thrust tower, right? Thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it shoots up and then you fall down. So you feel like you're much higher than you are because you're on top of the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I did do that, but I didn't do any of the other shit up there.
I haven't done that one yet. I need to do that. All right. I think I got my ducks in a row finally.
I finished Loki.
I got this. I got that. You did. What'd you think?
I loved it.
Yeah. I told you.
I'm telling you, it's Benson and Moorhead.
It is impressive. The line that was in almost every earlier movie he did, which I am blessed with glorious purpose or whatever his big Loki line. It's true. There you go. That was your purpose. There's your throne. You always wanted the throne. You got it.
But they could always bring him out of it, I guess, if they had to.
Well, I think it might be interesting to see if this... it was really interesting watching it this time. And I kept saying, oh, wait, this is a different Loki. This is not the Loki that from Endgame or the Loki from Infinity War or the Loki from Ragnarok.
Was it one of his others?
No, remember that what happened in Endgame was they went back to get the Tesseract and Loki picked up the Tesseract and disappeared before anything even happened. Essentially right after Hulk beat him up and went puny god and all that in Avengers. That's the Loki that is in the series. It's not the Loki that went through the whole thing with anything in the MCU. I mean, Winter Soldier, any of that is not the same Loki. Because this Loki disappeared using the Tesseract and ended up in the TVA.
So it was a different timeline Loki.
Correct. Well, essentially the main timeline still. Yeah, essentially the main timeline still, but he was out of time. They took him out of his thing. And so thinking back on that, it was really cool thinking about this whole redemption arc that he's done in this series. Because he started out, I'm the big guy who's going to screw everybody up and I'm going to resist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I loved in that last episode when they went back to the interrogation and he's talking to Mobius and he's telling him everything and Mobius believes him and shakes his hand at the end. And I went, yeah, this is great.
I mean, it's definitely trippy. It's not as hard to follow as Legion.
Oh, no.
And I attribute that to Benson and Moorhead because I just think they're really good at what they do. And they directed the first and the last episode and they produced the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get on watching some of their movies. I think you would like them.
Okay.
They're on Shudder. Well, they were. There's only one on there now. Most of them are on Tubi. But so you would think they're horror movies, but they're really not. I mean, Spring is a horror movie for sure. But the rest of them, I think, are probably just weird sci-fi crap.
Okay.
Yeah. And I finished Secret Invasion. It's okay. It's not great.
All right.
Loki is much better. Yeah. Secret Invasion did a few things that really pissed me off. One thing they did was almost like 3 episodes in a row, somebody died at the end. And I was like, what? This is crazy. Quit repeating yourself. And only one of them really wasn't dead. Because you know they're not going to kill 3 major characters.
Right.
But they do kill 2.
But again, in the multiverse, you can kill anybody anytime. They can come back.
Well, they don't come back in this series. So, and the one that comes back, you understand why toward the end. You're like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. But I was like, it was just the formula that bothered me. I was like, really? You're going to end every episode with somebody dying? That's very redundant and stupid. But other than that, I like the acting. I like the characters. I liked the story. I just didn't like, we need something shocking at the end of the episode or whatever. It was just dumb.
It's like Trek ending every commercial with "He's dead, Jim," or
yes, exactly. Kind of it's like melodramatic and stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, and when they did it a third time, I was like, I can't believe they're doing this.
You boys.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what all happens. I saw Chris Evans on The View yesterday. And apparently there's a rumor going around that they're going to do an Avengers movie with all the original Avengers.
Yep.
And
that's the big
he said, well, if that's true, I haven't heard it. And they said, would you do it? He said, I am very protective of my character in that property. He said, but if it was good, yes, I would.
I think my geek buddies who are pretty much in the know because they all live in California and all that, and I listened to them, and they were saying that, yes, that's the big rumor. They're very curious about how that would even work because they're obviously setting up the next group of Avengers, i.e. Falcon and the new Captain America, yada, yada, all this. And
Hawkeye.
You would have to be incredibly clever to write in the originals without it being, one of the guys even said, without it seeming like, okay, we get to this big climax, but you guys step aside. We'll take over now. We're the legacy characters. We'll handle this for you.
Or another time travel story, which would be redundant as well.
No, please don't.
No, they can't. Well, if they ever did what they said, like with the originals, I would rather them just go back in time and do a story that happened prior to Thanos.
Yeah, but in the current iteration of the MCU, you feel like the only time the Avengers have come together is in these
because of Thanos. Yeah.
Yes. That's the only time they've ever met each other.
Whereas in comic books, they were in a million different stories.
I watched the beginning of Infinity War again and just love that whole beginning with Loki being killed. And then we suddenly get to, Endgame. And then we suddenly get to when he's trying to convince Tony about Thanos and everything else. He goes, excuse me, what's his name again? He doesn't even know him. And you're going, oh my God, that's right. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
What's going on, Mr. Stark? We're here to stop a wizard from taking a crystal. Okay, can I help? Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. I got to run.
I know.
Okay, so you're doing the welcome because I'm doing the synopsis. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll count us in. And I got my thing. Yeah, okay. And 3, 2,
1.
start the car. Johnny has the keys.